Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.
Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. Here now is your host, Jennifer Miele, Chief Communications Officer and Managing Director of Evangelization of the Diocese of Greensburg.
Welcome to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. I'm your host, Jennifer Miele. Very happy to be here today with two fabulous guys planning a fabulous parking lot party on behalf of the Greensburg Fire Department. And of course, we have the Greensburg Fire Department President Rick Steele and Chief Tom Bell. Two pretty famous guys if you're in Greensburg. So I'm pretty lucky to have them on my show right now, especially to talk about the parking lot party. So Chief, we'll start with you. Is this an annual event? And tell us a little bit about what folks can expect.
Well, here's what we did was we talked about, of course, we all know COVID. COVID hit the volunteer fire departments very, very hard in 2020. Of course, we all know that. Hit us harder than we thought it could have happened or it would have happened. But anyways, how it hit us was in our fundraising. We had no possible way of doing any fundraising anymore because we had took it upon ourselves with all the updates and everything. COVID started in March and everything, and we had to close down. And of course, everybody wasn't allowed to go anywhere. But we couldn't basically shut down as a fire department because we still had to offer the fire service to everybody in the city of Greensburg, of course. And we continue to do so. But again, in-person things such as bingos and cash bashes and gun bashes and everything, those were all put on a block. There was nothing we could do. So we had to figure out a way to do things. And people came up with doing fundraisers on Facebook. And to make it a whole nutshell, everything worked out very well. The community was just really, really out there for us to help us at this time. Doing the fundraisers. And when we put our fundraisers on, it was like in a matter of minutes, we'd put on something like a TV. We did a lot of TVs in the beginning and boom, boom, boom. Before you know it, the tips were gone and we were announcing winners and we were doing 2 and 3 a day and stuff like that. And the community really got behind us and stood behind us and did these things and helped us get through the times that we couldn't have any fundraisers. And we just thought this was, of course, like everybody did, this was only a temporary thing. It was going to last for about a month or two. And we were going to get our crap together and we were going to be back into it and everything was going to be really good to go. We did not know this was going to be a year plus thing of where we wouldn't have anything. So we kept going on and going on. And again, the community just wrapped their arms around us and helped us out so much in those doing the raffles and everything. And so we decided as we were talking, we'd like to do something for the community and say, hey, look, City of Greensburg couldn't have their community days in May of this year because they have to start planning for that in January and February and start going for sponsors and getting fireworks and stuff like that. And at that time, we were still unknown. We were going to, even though that everybody was getting vaccinated and stuff like that, we were still in the point of unknown what they could do. So they had to make the rough decision of canceling that. So as the months went on, we thought, and I'd mentioned to Rick that, boy, it'd be nice if we could do something if we had community days or something like this. And of course, Rick, the brain hub of stuff like this, says, well, we ought to do something like having a community days or something. So that's how it all transpired. We thought about doing something and he came in and, hey, let's have a couple of bands. Let's do this. We'll get some food trucks. His wife was a big part of that, getting the food trucks and some vendors and things like that and having almost like a community days, but not naming it community days. And we talked about, okay, we're going to have this event. We don't know if it'll be an annual event. We don't know. This is just something we threw together to try to say, hey, Greensburg, we are so, blown away by what you did for us as the Greensburg Fire Department. We want to give something back. So that's what we're doing. This parking lot party is about basically giving something back to the community for helping us. And everybody's been locked up for the last year and everything. And this will give some of the people here in the city of Greensburg come down. We're not asking for a dime of anybody. This is all free. You come, of course, paying for the vendors and, getting stuff from the vendors and stuff. That's up to you. And we'll have drinks provided. There'll be pop and stuff like that. Water and food trucks will be there to supply food and snacks and everything. And 3 bands that we're going to have. And this is just, again, a way to just say, hey, thank you for getting behind us. And this is our way of thanking you and showing you that our gratitude for what you did for us. We're going to give you this at free of charge. So that's where we're at and come up with it.
Sounds amazing. Rick, I wonder if people understand the overhead that it takes to operate a fire department. Do they understand, the equipment, the training, the insurance, and everything that has to come with that? I mean, it's a tremendous expense.
It is a tremendous expense. What we do on a daily basis, we do a lot more than just answering fire calls. Everybody hears the sirens going and sees the trucks screaming across town. There's a lot more that goes into it. For an example, one of the things we did during COVID, going through our equipment, we noticed our AEDs. We had a range of AEDs. So we just, over the last 4 months, purchased 24 brand new AEDs. So again, to help people out in a medical emergency, we have a brand new set of AEDs on every piece of equipment across our fleet of the department. So things like that. And there's a lot of people involved to make this happen. Obviously, you hear from the chief and you hear from myself, but we have a tremendous staff that keeps this all going. We're very fortunate that we have probably a good solid 8 to 10 people, and everybody has their little niche of what they do to allow us to be successful as a group. Before we went on, we were talking about Hutch, and you had mentioned that, we've had to make a big change since Hutch passed. And we were fortunate enough when Tommy came in that he got the right people in place to keep this going, to make us successful. I mean, we've done a lot of great things over the last couple of years to put the Greensburg Volunteer Fire Department back on top. And, like Tom was saying, we do this for the community, but we do it with the community. Without the support of the members of the community, what we do would be very difficult. We ask them during fundraising times to support us, and they always have. Over the last couple of years, we've been quite fortunate that our community has stepped in behind us and supported us financially with those things and attending our events. And, this is our give back. This is something that, we're not charging the vendors for their space. We're not charging anybody for admission. It's come down, have a good time. Let's throw the masks in the garbage. Let's put this behind us, and let's look forward to brighter times.
I think that's amazing. The other piece of this too, though, is community outreach. I mean, yes, you're doing it as a thank you, but that community outreach always comes back to you because, this is an opportunity for you to be in the spotlight a little bit, right? And maybe not having to be in the spotlight during a dangerous fire situation, right? You do ever get to socialize with people? No, because you're always working in the field.
Yeah, that's, the way you said that, we see people at their worst times. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we're showing up, it's not just, hey, how you doing? It's, oh my goodness, this could be absolutely the worst moment in my life. My loved one is sick and we're providing medical attention. Somebody is pinned in a vehicle. We're cutting the car apart. Somebody's house is unfortunately on fire. Those are the things we do. When you see these faces rolling up to your door, it's not usually a happy meet and greet and how you doing. It's, oh my goodness, we need you. We need your help. Thank you for coming, but it's not the greatest of times.
Right. So this is an opportunity for you to, see people in the community in a brighter moment for sure. So this is Saturday, July 31st. It's from 2 to 10 p.m. Can you tell us a little bit about the location and where you want people to park?
Yeah, what we're doing is we decided, again, we're looking at this as part of I don't want to say make it up, but just kind of like putting this together to not say take over for communities, but give them something that everybody was expecting, I think, community days this year, thinking that we were getting to that point where it was going to. But anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to do it down at Lynchfield, of course. The big parking lot where the drill tower and the aerobic center and everything is, we're going to actually block that entire lot off. So nobody can get in, no cars, no nothing. We're going to set up the food truck vendors there. We're going to set up the stage as basically, if you always went to community days and you saw where the stage was set up, what we're going to do is we're going to take that stage and just flip it. We're going to turn it around and we're going to have it facing the parking lot. So when y'all come down and to sit with the bands and stuff like that, you'll be facing towards like the Dairy Queen and stuff like that to watch the band, because the stage will be facing towards the Sunoco bulk area, sheets, things like that. And that's basically where we're setting it up. And we also are, to kick things off that day, is we're having a battle of the barrel. Last year,
I love it.
2019, it was 2019. We had Battle of the Barrel down at Community Days, and it was the greatest thing that we could have done. It not only, as far as bringing the firemen together and having some type of competition, but it actually took their Friday night. It was Friday night, wasn't it? Thursday night. Oh, I'm sorry, Thursday night. It took their Thursday night and increased the volume of people down there, because Thursday night was kind of like a okay night. But once we had this Battle of the Barrel, you brought these people down to watch, and then the firemen, after they were all done, they stayed along with their families and everything, and more people that came down to watch it actually increased again the sales for the vendors. It just brought a little bit more light on a Thursday night than the usual for Community Days. So that's what we're trying to do now, is bring those people in, have a Battle of the Barrel. That's going to start at 2:30. Yeah, 2:30. I'm sorry, very lost with the times and everything, but it's 2:30. They'll start, and we're trying to do 16 teams. It'll be an elimination. You're in, you're out. And then, of course, we'll have a winner, and the three first, second, and third place get cash prizes. So that's something that's really going to start. And like I said, it's in the parking lot, and that will happen right near the drill tower before the bands and everything start to kick off.
That sounds really fun. Do you know what food trucks are coming yet?
Yeah, we
have. I think we have a total of 7 or 8 food trucks coming. Believe it or not, that was the hardest part of this whole thing. We started planning this, I think, in mid to late March. And I think we all anticipated, we'll have no problem getting food trucks. It was very, very difficult getting food trucks. We all anticipated, okay, we'll get food trucks and get vendors, but we're going to have a really difficult time getting vans. We got vans, like, no problem. Food trucks are difficult. So we, fortunately for the food truck industry, I guess, they are taking off tremendously. So good for them. But we have, I think, 8 food trucks committed, and they're from all over the area, as far away as almost Pittsburgh, I think. The types of foods, there's going to be a variety, not duplicating any of the vendors. So there's going to be 8 different menus, I guess you could say, available. And then from the food trucks, we have about 30 vendors as well. So, this all kind of fell together pretty well. We're fortunate, and we've acquired some sponsorship too. Again, we went out and we're seeking some sponsors. We've been, again, very successful in thanking the community for supporting this. We have to pay the bands, and we're bringing a stage crew and a light crew, so we have to pay them as well. So we received sponsorship to take care of all that. So now everything's in place. We're just praying for good weather on July 31st.
Keep your fingers crossed.
You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. I'm here with the president and chief of the Greensburg Volunteer Fire Department, Rick Steele, and Chief Tom Bell. They're talking about the parking lot party that's coming up on July 31st from 2 o'clock to 10 p.m. That's going to be in the parking lot of Lynch Field, and it's their way of saying thank you to the Greensburg community for supporting them during COVID-19. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Westmoreland Community Connections on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB. If you have a suggestion for a topic, or if your nonprofit organization would like to be featured on this program, call us during regular business hours at
Welcome back to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB. I'm your host, Jennifer Miele. Happy to be here today with both the chief and the president of the Greensburg Volunteer Fire Department. Chief Bell and Rick Steele are here to talk to us about the parking lot party they're hosting on July 31st at Lynch Field from 2 to 10 p.m. It's going to be a great day and night of celebration in thanks to the community of Greensburg for supporting the Volunteer Fire Department during COVID-19. What a tough time, not just for charities and for volunteer fire departments, but for fundraising in general, when your main fundraising streams come from in-person events and all of a sudden they're totally shut off. And the chief was talking about, okay, well, we think this will go a month or maybe 2 months, and then 16 months later, here you are and still in these situations. But you guys did get creative. You did find multiple ways to continue the funding streams coming in, which is very important, to fund the training, to pay the bills, to have the latest technology, to be able to save lives in the Greensburg community. And this is your way of giving back. So sounds like you're going to have some great bands there too. Anybody want to talk about the bands?
Yeah, the bands we have, we were extremely fortunate to get the bands we did. We're going to have 3 bands total. Aubrey Birchall is going to kick things off for us. Her and her band are going to start at 3:30 and play to about approximately 5:15-ish. And then at 5:30, we have Willow Hill. Never expected to get Willow Hill. Made a couple phone calls, and before you know it, we have Willow Hill, which again was a headline band for community days. So Willow Hill is going to play from 5:30 to 7:30, and then our closure will be Andy Davis. Andy's going to play from 8 to 10. Andy was very helpful. Andy's the one that basically kind of pointed us in the direction. He was our first phone call. We didn't know if we'd get him or not. We did, and he helped us out by getting the stage and the lighting people and the sound system people. So again, it's one less thing we had to go all over the place to find. He put us in contact with the group. They are the ones that are coming in, setting the stage, taking care of all the sound and lighting and everything. So it worked out again very well in our favor for that.
Sounds like finally the stars aligned for you after so many months of having so much difficulty. So we have food trucks, we have bands, we have, you said some vendors are going to be there as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we have vendors. You're putting me on the spot with the vendor.
No problem. But things that we can expect, things that we would normally expect to see at more of a community event, some sales and things like that.
Yeah, we neither one of these two guys have been handling the vendors.
Got it.
My wife Christy has taken care of all of that for us. I do know this: the night market that's in downtown Greensburg. A lot of those same vendors will be at this event.
There you go.
That was her first reach out. But like I said, we have 30 different vendors coming. So I'm sure there's a wide range of a little bit of everything.
Well, I mean, my husband's going to want to know if there's going to be jewelry there, and that will depend on whether or not he'll let us go, as a family. So I'm just going to be honest about that.
So just tell him no. There's no jewelry, but there won't be any jewelry.
That's right. I love it. So where can people park? Because we're blocking off the parking lot of Lynch Field. So where do you go?
Yeah, the parking, what we did was, again, we went after basically DMJ. It was the bus provider for Greensburg, Salem, and of course, in surrounding schools and stuff. And they also played a big part in community days, too, in 2019. So we went basically, talking with the city, and I just went to DMJ and said, hey, look, went to him and said, this is what we're planning. Dropped them an email and said, we'd like to do the same thing as community days do for the city of Greensburg. And of course, we offered whatever it's going to cost, how many buses can you provide, whatever and everything. And basically they came back and said, hey, look, no problem. We would love to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to open the Bell parking garage, of course, like they do community days. The city is generous enough to help us along with this, of course. There's no doubt that the city has been 100% behind us. The mayor and council, we cannot be any more grateful to them to, one, back us in this, helped us out. The city administrator and stuff helped us with all their people that they did some ideas and how they run a community days and gave us a little bit of tips and everything on what we can do. And so what we're going to do is the same thing as we're going to offer shuttle service. They're going to wind up. You can park at the Bell parking garage, or matter of fact, anywhere throughout the downtown area. Of course, on Saturdays and Sundays, meter enforcement's not there, and you can park on the streets at any metered position or spot, and go to the front of the court or the back of the courthouse, which would be the courthouse annex on Pennsylvania Avenue, and that's where the pickup's going to be for the bus pickup.
So that's the back of the courthouse annex is where the pickup.
Yeah, exactly. Pennsylvania Avenue, back of the courthouse. I think it's like 2 North Pennsylvania, 3 Pennsylvania, something like that. But we'll have signs there, where the shuttle will be picking up. So you can just basically park there and jump on the shuttle, and the shuttle will be running all day from 2 to 10 o'clock. And 2 to 11 o'clock, actually. We wanted to have it an hour after we get done at 10 o'clock. So after 10 o'clock, it'll be ready to go. We pick you up, take you back, and go from there.
I think it sounds amazing. So are there going to be details on your Facebook page? Like, can people go check it out? So you'll have some of the details there.
Yeah, you can get most of the information off this from our Facebook page, Greensburg Volunteer Fire Department, as well as our website, which is www.gbgfire.com. Most of the details of the event are on there already. So if anybody's looking for more information, by all means, check out those 2 sources. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to message us off of either one of those, whether it's an email from our website or a Facebook message through Messenger.
So, like, if a jewelry vendor wanted to contact you, I'm kidding. They can. Okay, that's fantastic. So I want to go back now to COVID a little bit because, everybody had process changes during COVID, right? Protocol changes. But the thing is like emergencies don't stop during COVID. And so now you have guys in fire gear worried about a pandemic. I mean, literally going out to fight a fire and, COVID, the virus is out there, a potentially deadly virus. So what did you guys do? How did you change your protocols and policies to safely continue to respond to emergencies?
Well, when this all hit, of course, it was just something that was new to us. There was no doubt we didn't know exactly what we were going to do. I'd been in touch with Buddy Mertz, which is in charge of Westmoreland County Emergency Operations out for the county. And, him and I talked back and forth about some of the protocols that were coming up and what the recommendations were from, I think it was Carol Fox and stuff that was at the Excella, and what we would basically do as first responders. And the biggest thing we started to get together, I had met with my staff and said, hey, look, we have to generate some type of policy and get things to where we can keep our firefighters safe. And the first couple of things was gloves, masks, hand sanitizer. We went out and tried to get, and at that time, things were just blowing up fast. Couldn't find the masks, couldn't find hand sanitizer. We were looking for face shields, full protective face shields and stuff. So basically what we were doing, our first protocol was masks, that we are our SCBAs, helmets, full turnout gear, gloves, and just going in like, if we had an ambulance assist or something, we were going in like it was an actual fire just to keep us well protected. And in our department, we have a New Way Laundry that's down there off of Highland Avenue. They take care of all our bunker equipment. When we have fires and we have things like that, we send all our bunker gear down in the garbage bags and everything, and they take care of it. They pull it out, they wash it, because we have 2 machines down there, the washer and dryer and stuff, long story, but they maintain. So if we felt that we came into a situation where we knew that we had a COVID patients, which we did, we were on several calls that we had actual COVID patients, we would have those guys take their bunker suits off, just like if they were fighting a fire, put them in a garbage bag, send them down and say, hey, look, these have been exposed, clean them with care, blah, 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 things at that time, because everything was, they were at the time, touch everything or anything was in, you didn't know if it was airborne or whatever it is. So we basically followed that protocol as the same we would follow a structure fire. Take all your gear off, put it in a bag, send it down, have it washed and cleaned and laundered, and then get it back to us. The mask protocol, you didn't go off of that truck unless you had a mask on. You didn't go off of that truck unless you had gloves. Hand sanitizer as soon as you went into set. Even if you did not have somebody with COVID, you were system mutuated, we made you wash your hands. We made you wear the gloves. We made you wear the masks and everything. So there was a lot of safety issues put into place at the time that we normally don't have. But that was up until probably, a couple of months ago, if that, February, March of this year. We still were following that protocol a year later. But it made a huge difference in everybody and how you do things and how we had to do things than normal firefighting and normal ambulance assistance, stuff like that. But,
oh my goodness, I can't even imagine, what that must have been like to, I just think like fighting fires, I had a hard time sitting with a mask on at a desk. You know what I mean? Like, let alone going out to fight a fire. So that's very difficult. That's very challenging. And so then you had to get even more creative with the fundraising. So you said you did everything from online to TV tickets, all of that stuff. And how did your bottom line stay? Were you able to, basically stay where you were for the earnings?
Yeah, we were actually. Again, we do a letter donation campaign to every year through the community, and we were very fortunate that the community responded pretty well. As you can see, you now just have me because everybody else just rushed out for a fire call.
There you go. I love it. A fire
never ends.
I pray
24/7, 365.
I pray everyone's okay, but it actually adds to the drama and excitement of the show that the fire chief's getting called out to.
But getting back to your question, the community, again, this community is fabulous. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Every time that we try to do something new, the community is there to support us, whether it's financially or providing items for the pantries we have in town, or, we started a campaign a couple of years ago donating food boxes to families around the area for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And what we started, we thought, we'll do 25. The first time we did it, we did over 75. Mm-hmm. And that all came, we started it with 25, but the community then jumped on board. And before you know it, it just took off. Went so well at Thanksgiving, we did it at Christmas. We did over 100 our first Christmas. So this community is absolutely fabulous. And, they're always behind us. And again, this was just something that we could do to give back, to thank everybody for what they've done. And, hopefully we're done with all the masks and we're over COVID, the variants kind of fade away, and we can get back to some bit of normalcy.
Rick, I think the community of Greensburg owes you a very big thank you for all that you and the volunteers of the Greensburg Volunteer Fire Department do. And I want to say that sincerely on the air. I recognize how much you do. A lot of people recognize it, and we need to say thank you to you.
We greatly appreciate that. You see a few more faces of this department more than others, but it's truly a team effort. We are very blessed with over 100 active members. We have 300 members on our roster. 300. That's insane. We have over 100 dedicated individuals that respond 24/7, 365, rain, snow, sleet, 2 a.m., that respond to calls and answer the bell all the time, that this organization doesn't function without them. So we are, again, very fortunate to have a great community, but we're also very fortunate to have these dedicated individuals that put their life on hold every time that minuter or siren go off.
Well, one more compliment. Great culture attracts great people, and you must have the culture because you're attracting the right people. Rick Steele is the president of the Greensburg Volunteer Fire Department. We lost during the interview Chief Tom Bell, who got called out to. Hopefully that wasn't anything too serious, but we're glad to be here talking about the parking lot party. It's free to attend Saturday, July 31st, 2 to 10 p.m. in the parking lot of Lynch Field. It's going to be a great time and a big way to say thank you to the department. Rick, thank you so much. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, Jennifer, thank you very much for having us. We greatly appreciate it. On behalf of Chief Tom Bell and myself, thank you for what you do for our community and getting our message out there. And it's always nice talking to you.
I'm Jennifer Miele. You're listening to Westmoreland Community Connections on WHJB.
This has been Westmoreland Community Connections, a look at issues and happenings in and around Westmoreland County. Join us again next week on Classic Hits 107.1 WHJB.
Westmoreland Community Connections is a presentation of Citizens Fiber.